What up, JT Nation? You've hit 6 figures. Congratulations. You've proven you can do the work. But now your success is becoming a prison of busy work and long hours. You feel like you have to do everything yourself. Today, we're talking about the mindset and the systems to go from a successful salesperson to a scalable business owner without burning out. This is your blueprint for getting to the next level. Let's go. All right, team, let's start with the first question.
I'm the only person in my business. How do I find time to do everything? Prospecting, client work, and all the admin stuff without working 80-hour weeks.
I feel your pain as a solopreneur and someone who owns your own business. It can get overwhelming and scary. Scary to start the process of hiring someone. And I know around that process and even just that thought, there's a lot of fear. Am I going to be able to pay the person? Am I going to have enough work for them? How am I going to lead them? Why would they want to work for me? I mean, we get all these questions, right? I like to, at any time when negative thoughts are coming into my mind, I like to reframe it by asking better questions. So in that example, you would reframe the questioning process to sound more like, what are ways that I can learn to become a better leader? How am I going to ensure that people stay with me longer? What are some of the activities that someone can take off my table or off my desk? Because the first time I hired a full-time assistant, it completely, I can't even over-dramatize this, even if I tried, changed not only my business, but changed my life. Why? Because we like to think that there's this myth around multitasking, that you can actually, do more than one thing at the same time, or your brain can actually think about more than one thing at a time. Like, you probably said this to yourself, I got a million things running in my head. Yeah, it might feel like that. But once you start to let go and get help, you then not only will free up yourself to do more things that you enjoy, so that beautiful word freedom, but you'll also figure out more ways to make money. And you're in business. Otherwise, you're most likely not listening to this podcast if you're not. The asking of this question tells me that by working 80 hours a week, I think you can afford it. And you would want to get started with some very easy tasks that the assistant can take over. How do you do that? Well, you want to first understand, what are some of my time bandits that don't actually make me money, but they have to be done, right? And so in relationship-driven sales, things like actual paperwork, we have to get the paperwork done. There's paperwork that needs to be signed sometimes before a prospect becomes a client. It's during the actual transaction. And then there's tons of stuff that you should be doing post-sale, but you don't have enough time to do it. And that's understandable. Start making a list for the next 7 days. Don't hire anyone yet. Just list down all the things that you do in a day. And so now you're going to have 7 days, 7 business days, 7 work days worth of all these tasks. And then at the end of the 7 days, you're going to quickly just circle for M. You're going to circle with the letter M, money-making activities. For example, prospecting, lead generation, meeting up with clients, like taking appointments, you actually putting out content. Those are all money-making activities, right? And then you'll start to notice things like posting the content, setting up the CRM, sending out emails. The writing of the emails probably still needs to be done by you, but actually sending out the emails. All these, I just want you to write an A beside it, because those are all things that an assistant can take over. Now, doing this okay, is very important, but I know people don't schedule time for it. What you need to do is also understand that you got to work on your business, not just in it always. Otherwise, you can't see the forest for the trees. So just schedule out an hour. Schedule an hour every single week that you're working on the business and not in the business. And understand, your calendar isn't just a schedule. It's your blueprint for wealth. What's next, team?
I'm buried in paperwork and busy work every day. I know I can't do it all myself, but I'm not ready to hire a full-time assistant. What's the first step to getting help with all the admin stuff?
First things first is understanding that you want to buy back your time, just one task at a time. And so if you're not currently ready to hire on a full-time assistant, I would recommend, just like big shout out to one of my coaching clients, Essen, who what I had him do at the start is list down all the tasks and start with the lowest income producing activities at the start, and then hire on not a full-time assistant, not full-time help, but you have one or two kind of options here. You could go down the virtual assistant route. Fantastic companies out there. I'm not going to mention any, just Google them. And you might need to test out a couple, make some phone calls, get in touch with them, see what they can do, get on a Zoom with them. And you can hire them. You don't need to hire them for 40 hours a week. You can hire them for 10 hours a week. In fact, I also did this for one of my organizations. I didn't need somebody for 40 hours. I just wanted somebody to help me do some more posting. And so I hired somebody on for 10 hours a week. Now, what we learned with Essen was he started with a virtual assistant, but then he started to get busier. Why? Think about it, right? He got busier because he originally was doing all the work, and then things were falling through the cracks, hires a VA, I think it was for like 10 to max 15 hours a week, and then what he noticed is he got busier because he was able to take off some of those low income producing activities to the VA, and he was able to focus in on those high producing revenue activities. Putting on events, like this guy's one of the beasts in our coaching academy when it comes to putting on events. He does them religiously now, I think once a month, and he's always asking to find out more ways of connecting with people, because he understood that's like one of the, if not the highest income producing activities is actually meeting with people in person, or he does a lot of webinars as well. Anyways, what then he realized is, well, look, I don't need somebody for more hours, but I want to get somebody in person. And so he just hired someone part-time. There is a lot of people who cannot work 40 hours a week. They go to school or they already have a job, but they're looking for a second job. And I think about any office that you go to. There's the 9 to 5 staff, and then there's the 5 to 9 staff, right? And you could flip that as well. You can go 10 to 2. You'll find out where you need most of the work. When you're probably more high energetic, and you have more ideas popping to you, you might need somebody with you. Now, that person doesn't need to physically be at your home or at your office, but they're kind of local to you. So if they have to pick up stuff for you, they can if they have a car. And you can make that part of the process when you hire someone. So you don't need to go right for the 40 hours a week. Start off very, very slow. Here's what I want you to do, the person who asked the question, is just hire a VA or go down the process of a part-time project job. Not even a part-time job. VA or a small project, i.e. you can use online services for this as well. There's Freelancer, there's Fiverr.com. I think you can spend $5, $50. Just one project that you hate to do, whatever that is in your business, and just delegate that out. Just test it out. If it doesn't work, come back to me. Ask me more questions. Feel free to throw me an email at jazz@ftguacademy.com and tell me it didn't work and I suck. That's okay. We'll work through the process. Because understand this, your time is your most valuable asset. Buy it back. What's next, team?
My pipeline is full when I'm prospecting and empty when I'm not. How do I build a lead generation machine that works even when I'm busy with clients?
Well, look, I like the fact that you're busy with clients at times, but I really want you to get the understanding that as nice as it is to have like little short bursts of activity, because that can give you some confidence, you realize, okay, this can work, you can get some momentum. The real, like the top 1%ers, what they know is that consistency will always beat bursts of little small activity, once every 3 months. It's why most sales professionals in relationship driven sales, their business looks like this, right? They got no business and they have no leads, they have no money, and their bank account is dwindling, and it's like, holy crap, I need to get out there and prospect. And then they do everything and anything underneath the sun, throw everything at the kitchen sink, and then their business goes up and they make some money. It's like, oh, and they take that sigh of relief. But the problem is that once they take that sigh of relief, because they just have bursts of activity, then they start to drop again, and then they just go up and down. There's not that consistent, slow growth that I really have been able to consistently get in my life now, and have helped hundreds of people do this. This is not a plug for the coaching company, guys. I'm really wanting you to understand that consistency will always beat little small bursts of activity. In fact, I believe in it so much that right now, currently in my real estate organization, it is mandatory, not suggested, it is mandatory that if you are on this team, that you will prospect with us together. We have a discipline around prospecting, because what you get in life is what you're disciplined in. Disciplined into doing and not doing. Not doing, i.e. things that are just time wasters, and you probably have many of them, and I have some as well. I'm not perfect. Now, once we started to realize that we had a group of people that are willing and ready and committed consistently to prospect with us as a group, our sales, even in this current economy as we sit now, coming into the fall of 2025, in all relationship-driven sales, industry, it's not as busy as it was a year ago or 2 years ago. But that doesn't mean that we have to only survive. We can thrive. We might not be thriving as much as we were in the past, but we can still thrive. And we are starting to see the fruits of our labor now. Because remember, in relationship-driven sales, you get lucky sometimes. You talk to somebody and they buy or sell right away with you, use your service right away. But most of the time, there's a process to it. By the time you meet with them and actually do a transaction and then get paid on it, but we are really, truly starting to see the fruits of the labor. And the way to do it is just block out, for the days that you're working, 2 90-minute power prospecting sprints. That's it. As I say it, look, it's very, very simple, okay? But it's not easy. I understand that as well, and I'm empathetic that not everyone can get themselves to do this. But you gotta have, if you have a strong enough why, and sometimes the why is that you don't have the money in the account. Doing the same thing over and over again, and in this example, the lack thereof, and expecting a different result, we know that is the exact definition of insanity. And so what we do here, and what I strongly suggest you do, is do 2 90-minute power prospecting sprints every week. You don't have to do them back to back. Not every week, I apologize. Every day that you're working. So that's literally 3 hours of prospecting every single day. Yes, that's what you need to do to have consistent growth. Otherwise, you're going to have that roller coaster that so many of you call here at the podcast, or send us an email or send me a DM and say, how do I get off this roller coaster? Is what you want to make sure is that you're just consistently prospecting. The appointment engine, it's a predictable machine built on discipline. The appointment engine being the 5th pillar in the Jazz Takar 5-pillar sales method. What's next, team?
I'm great at getting new clients, but I feel like I'm neglecting my old ones. What's a simple way to manage a growing client base so no one falls through the cracks?
Yeah, this is something that we've all experienced. That I've been in the business for 5 to 10 years. I think 10 years is a good marker because you have a good client base, but now you're starting to see that, some deals fell through the crack, right? We've all had that feeling that we've lost some deals with people that we know that we either did a deal with in the past or we're connected with through whatever, like social media or just like in our sphere of influence, friends, family, but they ended up going with someone else. We tend to blame that person, like, oh my God, they didn't reach out to me. Well, they don't walk around with your business card stapled on their head, right? And so first and foremost, understanding that your CRM is your most powerful referral machine. There's nothing that beats your CRM because that's the central place where you have everyone's contact info, all the details about the transaction, their anniversary dates, their dogs' names, all of that. Now, what I strongly coach on, and one of my guys here, O'Dane, I got to call him out here because he's done a fantastic job with this, where he's in the process now of actually receiving referrals because of the follow-up system for past clients. It's very simple to, again, implement, but not easy because you have to be consistent with this. Schedule. So once somebody does a deal, here's how you got to make sure that deals don't fall out of the crack, that they don't fall through the cracks, okay? Schedule every 4 months, I want you to call them. You're just touching base. You're not trying to sell them anything. Maybe you could do some cross-promotion with other relationship-driven salespeople so you can offer like a concierge service. Every 4 months, I want you to call them, okay? Set up a weekly email that goes out to everyone in your CRM. Now, that is not going to be the end all and be all. But by just sending out emails every single week, you have a very high probability of people dropping in their inbox. Them seeing your name again, your company's name. Them when they go to work, when they go to a party, somebody brings up whatever, industry that you're in. For example, I really wish I can get some better returns on some of my stocks or some of my mutual funds. Oh my God, it's funny that you mentioned that. O'Dane, my real estate agent, actually sends me emails about a financial advisor that he's connected with, or vice versa. That really, truly happens. And then set up just one annual event for all past clients and current prospects. I would invite them there as well so they get to talk to some of the past clients. They get to know each other. Just one social event. You're not selling. You're not educating. You're just shaking hands, kissing babies, getting to see people again. You don't need to go huge with this. You don't need to go like full black tie event, anything of that sort. Don't need to rent out banquet halls. You can do it in your office, have some wine and some cheese. The costs are very, very minimal, but the returns are very, very high. But you can only do that if you're building your referral machine and staying in contact with all these people. And the way to do that is through your CRM. Your CRM is a living asset, not just a list of names and phone numbers. What's the next question, team?
I'm so afraid of failing that I keep doing everything myself. How do I get past the fear of letting go of control and start building a scalable business?
Look, fear in itself, and I know this to be so true in my own personal life and in business. Fear is truly just an illusion. And what I mean by that is it's made up in our own heads, right? And most of the time, if not all the time, but most of the time, the fear is about something in the future. We're worried about something happening or something not happening in our favor, right? So it's an illusion, almost like a mirage that you see, that you've probably noticed in your life before. It's not really there. It looks like it's there, but it's not there. Where we're thinking about the future. And the only way that I've gotten myself to get better at it, not that I don't have fearful moments, not that I don't have sometimes some anxiety or some stress about something, but it's now I've gotten it to a place, and I'm definitely getting a lot better at the place of it not taking over my day, not an hour. I'm really trying to get it down to 90 seconds. God willingly, I get it down to 7 seconds. I was just watching something. Big shout out to Mo Gaudat, if you guys haven't heard him. Fantastic book reference. The book's name is the book's name is Solve for Happy, actually. Fantastic book. Mo Goddard is the author, and he talks about he's gotten this down to now 7 seconds. Not every single time in his life, but I won't ruin the story for you. And so I'm not trying to live in that fear for a very long time. And so in business, hiring somebody and letting go of what I felt I was truly one of the best at, and I still believe I'm one of the best at it, and that's not coming from a cocky perspective. It's kind of the only thing I've done, which is make phone calls and sell stuff. That's what I've done for over 31 years, but like formally getting paid for it for the last 31 years. God, man, if I didn't pick up on some patterns, I'd be an idiot along the way, right? And so the first time that I let go truly of that process on its own, which was making phone calls, was to Tyler. Big shout out to Tyler Walburn, VP of the whole organization at REC Canada now. He started out 11 years ago as a part-time assistant, then went to full-time assistant, and then this is where I let go of a lot of stuff, specifically making the phone calls, which was I think after his first year, he was full-time in making outbound phone calls, booking appointments. Now that's my jam. That's my money-making that's a huge money-making activity. But I was getting too busy. I could not make the phone calls and go meet all the people. Like, we were doing lots of volume. That's when it all started. And I knew I needed to scale this now. I can't be doing both things plus all the other stuff that needs to get done. And for that first 4, 5, 6 months, it was tough because a lot of deals were falling through the cracks. I mean, as much as I love Tyler, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, I mean, he's not going to be as good as I am at it. I mean, even at that time when we did that 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I'm still in the sales industry at that time for 20 years, right? So I got a lot more experience than he does. But it was the understanding I needed to trust the process. That if I jump back in, which I could at any time, I'm not going to be able to scale this. So the failing forward is very important here. Understanding that you are not going to get it perfect. And you know this. There's no such thing as perfect. What's better than perfect is done. It's the progress that you want to start to watch. Now, if Tyler couldn't do this after a year, I knew he had it in him. I just felt it in my gut, but sometimes you might not feel that. Then I would have to make a change. I wouldn't think that the process wouldn't work, by the way. It worked out with Ty. But if it didn't, it might have just been, A, I didn't train him well enough. B, he might have been the wrong person for it. The actual process I know works. That's how companies and organizations scale. It's not always the CEO that's in the actual dirt. In fact, most of the time, the CEO is not in the dirt. He or she is the visionary. So here's what you want to do. Just let go of one non-critical task just for 2 weeks. I'm not asking you to do what I did in terms of literally giving him one of the most critical tasks in my business, just something non-critical. You could start off with somebody posting your social media. You could start off with somebody sending out emails for you. You can start off with somebody setting up an event for you. Whatever it is. They're not going to do the event. They can set up the event. Because sitting where you're sitting and not being okay with failure, that's not going to get you anywhere as well. Because remember this, guys, you can't be mad at yourself for the results you don't get, for the work you don't do. And the work you don't do in this situation is not willing to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself outside your comfort zone to get the results you're looking for, which are right outside your comfort zone. And outside your comfort zone is the uncomfortableness of these new tasks, strategies, and tactics. That's how your comfort zone actually starts to grow. That's your blueprint for scaling. We talked about how to buy back your time, manage a growing client list, and trust the systems you build. If you're ready to get past the burnout and build a business that works for you, check out Jazz Tackar Coaching. The link is in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, keep crushing it.